Is Mormon Prophet Russell M. the richest man alive? It sounds like a wild question, but stay with me. The answer might actually surprise you. So let's start with the numbers. At the end of 2023, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was worth approximately $265 billion. By the end of 2024, that figure jumped to $296 billion. That's a growth rate of roughly $1 billion per week, putting the church on par with some of the fastest growing investment funds in the world. It's creeping up to $400 billion as we speak. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The church is organized as a corporation sole, S-O-L-E, a rare legal structure where one individual holds and controls all the assets of the entire organization. In this case, that individual is Russell Marion Nelson Sr. He doesn't just lead the church spiritually, he legally owns it and controls the entire financial empire while he's alive and serving. That includes the Ensign Peak Advisors' $225+ billion portfolio, 16 million members tithing, which brings in $7 billion a year, thousands upon thousands of properties, and vast global assets. So technically, and this is key folks, while Nelson probably can't personally cash out, he does have sole legal stewardship over what is arguably a $350 billion empire. That would make him on paper richer than Elon Musk, who topped the 2024 wealth charts at about $342 billion. And just how much is Russell paid per year? Well, I'm so glad that you asked. Let me cue that up for you.
How much does Russell M. Nelson earn as prophet of the church? This is hard to say since general authority earnings are not made public. However, we can speculate based on the data we do have. The first pieces of data we have are President Henry B. Eyring's pay stubs from 2000. These list a living allowance, parsonage payment, or housing allowance, and a child allowance. We do not know the details of the child allowance and who qualifies, so we will ignore that payment for our calculations. Our second source of data comes from a leaked letter from the presiding bishopric in 2014. This memo lists the living allowances for both 2013 and 2014. According to this memo, Russell M. Nelson would be paid $120,000 in 2014. But what about today? From 2000 to 2013, the growth of the living allowance was much higher than the inflation during that time period. And we see the same thing between 2013 and 2014. So, it is reasonable to assume that this pay has increased with inflation, and we can predict the 2023 pay rate based on inflation rates since 2014. This leads to a living allowance of $155,000 in 2023 and a parsonage payment of $38,000, totaling in $193,000 coming directly from the church. In addition to the bi-weekly paychecks from the church, his position as prophet has served as a platform for book sales. Currently, he is earning $279,000 in annual revenue from his books on Amazon. If he only retains 20% of the revenue, then he profits about $56,000 per year from his Amazon book sales. It is important to note, we do not have accurate data from Deseret Books, which most likely produces higher sales. Based on the data available to us, it is safe to say that Russell M. Nelson is earning at least $250,000 from his role as prophet of the church.
Now that's good work if you can get it, folks. Now let's see how Nelson stacks up against America's richest men, and yes, they are all men. How much are these guys worth and how much do they give away? Well, Elon Musk is worth about $342 billion, and he gave away about $500 million in 2024. And Mark Zuckerberg, well, he's number 2, worth about $216 billion. Mark gave away about $5 billion through his Chan Zuckerberg initiative. Number 3 is Jeff Bezos, worth $215 billion. Last year, he gave away about $320 million. Larry Ellison is number 4 at almost $200 billion. Little to no public giving was available for me to find in 2024. And rounding out our list at number 5 is Warren Buffett, worth about $154 billion. He gave away about $6 billion in 2024. Now we can compare all of those numbers to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints charitable giving under Nelson's leadership. According to the church's own humanitarian report, the church gave away about $1.5 billion to charity in 2024. Even if we take that number at face value, and there's plenty of reasons to be skeptical, given the church's past lack of transparency, it still doesn't crack the top 10 charitable organizations in America. And as I mentioned earlier, a number of billionaires who are worth less than the church have given away far greater numbers. But let's compare here. Feeding America gave away about $5 billion to direct aid last year, and St. Jude's gave away about $265 billion, and Goodwill gave away a whopping $6 billion last year. All of those organizations are worth less than Mormon Incorporated, yet gave away far greater numbers. And again, the LDS Church, just $1.5 billion, despite sitting on over $300 billion in wealth. So while Nelson's personal lifestyle is supposedly modest, a stipend, free housing, private jets, lifetime cushy benefits, he technically wields more financial power than anyone else alive. #think celestial. And here's the deal, he has zero accountability to shareholders, congregations, or even to government regulators, thanks to religious exemptions and the corporation's sole structure. And here's a quick twist for you. Imagine Dallin H. Oaks, who's next in line, who probably has a net worth around $10 million, just waiting for Russell to die, knowing that he'll legally inherit control over a $350 billion empire. Now that's the ultimate promotion. So wrapping things up here, is Russell Nelson the richest man alive? Well, not in spendable cash, but in terms of total financial control over a private empire? Absolutely. And yet the church's charitable giving remains pitiful, especially when compared to the secular billionaires that we covered in this video. And of course, the church comes up far short when compared to religious charities in the United States. So the real question that I want to leave you with is, what good is all that wealth if it barely helps the world?